Hey y'all, Choice here. Thank you so much for joining me again for another session of Choice Spirit. It's kind of windy again. But I really wanted to make this video. I talk about get your mind back. You know the thing. I talk about all of these different things. But let's go a little more in. A little more in. What is awareness? A lot of people, you hear people saying, oh, awakening, woke, conscious, and everything else. Meaning they're seeing more of themselves. They're beginning to get a glimpse into what everything is, of what they perceive and believe they are witnessing. Awareness, many people have definitions of awareness. And every awareness, if you will, is beholden to the eyes of that which views it. Whatever they believe it to be. I talk about go within. Because that's all that is. We see ourselves as separate from the all that is. When it's impossible, if we think about it logically, if it's all that is, it's all that is for all of you logical thinkers. Rational, to make sense, scientific point of view, all of that stuff. Well, even that is in the mind of the all that is. The only true awareness is awareness itself. The only true consciousness is consciousness itself. We, even as human beings, believe we're conscious, but it's not really, it's the I within that's conscious. You know, we worry about, people are concerned about blasphemy and speaking against the Most High, or believing that they are the Most High God is blasphemy, and that, is punishment. There's a punishment that goes along with that. But if everything says that all that is all that is, what is? What is? What is? What's viewing through you? Through you. What's experiencing through you? The reason I bring this up is because these are the kind of things that when you give yourself a little more insight, the mind opens up. The DNA begins to open up more, release more information. You allow you allow more information to be revealed to you. So when you stop to think about, I did a video where I said, put everything that you believe you are outside. Put everything you believe you are outside. Okay? And witness what is inside. If you're not thinking of anything, if you're not responsible for anything, if you have no name, no face, no identity, there's nothing, and you just stood there and saw and looked at yourself without judgment, no language, no form, nothing, just sit. That is what is witnessing everything, which is what's creating everything, it's what's experiencing everything. Now I know I've tried all kinds of ways to bring things to light, because hey, many have it, many know, but there's many of us that are, still trying to figure out this thing. It's a never-ending story, truly, because Every time we think we get it, there's something else to show us that we don't have we don't know, we don't have anything. We don't know anything. So every time we think we got it, we don't got it. We don't have it. So that's why I'm bringing up this in the way. I said everything we think we know, we must think again. And it's always going to be that, because we're not going to get everything. But knowing a little bit about everything being within mind, and the mind and the nature of mind and how it works according to perceptions, the thoughts that are coming through. And remember, I told you, the thoughts are not just thoughts floating by. They are thoughts that somewhere in your psyche, somewhere in your vibrational frequency is allowing you to rendezvous with those thoughts, to have a encounter with those thoughts. Now it's up to you whether or not you're going to dismiss it or entertain it, because remember, thoughts are not, they don't stay, they pass by. But you have some thoughts that keep coming back. And those thoughts that keep coming back, there's a vibration that keeps, a frequency that keeps you having to cross paths with that same thought. There are some thoughts that come through, and if you don't write it down, you never witness that thought, never comes through again. You never have that moment with that thought. But there are some thoughts that are consistent and they hang around. Those thoughts, there is a vibratory frequency that's being emitted that is attracting those type of thoughts. And for as long as you are vibing in alignment with those thoughts will continue to just pop up. Or because there may be some unresolved issues in your psyche that you may not be aware of. So anyway, back on topic. So I know I separate the you and from the I, but really all of it is that I within you that is experiencing everything. Some say awareness, some say consciousness, some say most high, infinite intelligence, and the names go on and on. They have a ref that they use. People say God, but what happens with God, a lot of people have their own understanding of this, and sometimes it's not the same God. My grandmother used to say, which God? So to keep it simple, the Most High, infinite intelligence, creator of all creation, all that is. I use these type of terms so that no one gets stuck because they hear the word God. All of a sudden it's like, they're not sure, what God? There's only one God, okay. But, so to forget all of that and the buts. It's just so back on topic. So the Most High presence, the presence within, it's what's experiencing. But we find it difficult to believe that presence within is who we be. It's who we be. So everything that we are witnessing, I talk about the flow of consciousness in all that we see. But still that flow of consciousness is within the mind. Within the mind. it's 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 not separate from you because it's created within mind. You see? So when we begin to, these things are separate from us, this is when the confusion begins. But there is going to be initial confusion when you begin to think like that, when you begin to view things like that, when you get to understand things like that and overstand, as one of my brothers put it, like that. It creates confusion because you're looking at the things that are happening around you and you're like, I know I'm not losing my mind. Walking around here with all kinds of, I don't want to go into that, but they have painted a reality that you have signed up to, you subscribe to, and you somehow are, like I think I told you, I mentioned in one of my other videos, that everyone is walking around in their own world. Though it's a collective and everyone thinks they all experience the same thing, no, they are not experiencing the same thing, and they are not in the same world dealing with the same thing. And there are people that choose not to deal with what we see, what we believe we see, what we perceive we see. But it is also knowing that there is a presence within you that is having the experience, We can find comfort in saying, yes, the Most High is in charge. What he, she says is, because that's all that is. How, with that said, that's all that is. With that said, the flow of consciousness of who you be has created put laws in place, put principles in place, almost seeming like, if you will, I'm just going to use this as a seeming like, it allows itself to operate through its kingdom, the vessel being you, and in line with your mind's limitations. So it exists, it is what it is. The I am, the I in you, that is experiencing all. That is the only awareness that is not you aware of that, it's awareness itself, having the experience. And everything that you are witnessing is within the mind of the all. The vessel that it comes through that has managed to give itself mental limitations is what it will operate through. So if there are any limitations to the I that you are, it's because you have put up those limitations. It can only function through your perceptions and your beliefs. Now, I'm not saying that it can't function elsewhere, because whatever it won't do through you, it will do through someone else. Perfect example. People get ideas. They have ideas to do something, to invent something, to create something, and if they don't step out and do it, they can, or even come up with a song, write a song, and they don't move on it, and then one very thing that they thought about, dreamed about, is someone else did it. That's because it's in the mind of the all. And if the person that is that allows it to come through them and moves on that inspiration and the guidance within. Someone says walk by faith, have belief. If you don't have that knowing the I within yourself has, it has this covered, and you doubt and you tiptoe around it and don't get to moving on the ideas and the inspirations and the gentle nudges of move, get going, or the hammering of nudges, because sometimes, you will be moved to act. And if you still limit yourself and don't do it, someone else will. This is how the universe works. This is how the Most High works. So when now there's people that do this automatically. They don't need to know their inner self. They don't have a clue. But what happens is they operate in a certain way that is natural. They have a natural way of moving and doing things and following their instincts. And those people they do very well because they're just moving. They don't have to know all about this awakening stuff or any of this. They move natural. It's just like very healthy people. They don't have to know that the I in them never gets sick. That their body was created in the image, in the likeness of the Most High. They don't have to know any of this. They just operate in their natural way of being. And so this way their body does well. When people engage in certain type of labels, when they label things as negative and this and that, when they do that and then they engage in that, their body and the frequency and everything has to respond to that. So if they're talking and dealing and believing and speaking in sickness or whatever, then the body has to respond to that. Even if they're not speaking of it and they're just observing it all day and all night, or listening to it all day and all night, then it will, manifest in some way. But if they are just moving about their business, following their own inner script, living and being of nature, of their natural way of being, they will not experience that in that way. Right? So there may be other things, but maybe that they may not run into health issues. Or they may know how to build mega companies or whatever without the knowledge being handed down. Where some people have that, the knowledge was handed down, so they know how to use it. But some people have no idea about this knowledge, and that's why you have youth from our inner cities and stuff rising up and managing to come into fame and fortune. With that said, there's a whole host of other things that may not be balanced out. And so they moved on it, but once they get in the midst of a certain mentality, they fall prey within that collective group, the vibratory frequency of that collective group. So they fall prey. Though their mind may have the purest intentions, and they just move and they make things happen and they rise and they do all kinds, but you have other people and other energies with agendas that if they turn their face and look that way, they are bound to have to deal with some of that stuff. They used to say, if you lay with dogs, you get fleas. Or if you lay with dogs and fleas, you get, I don't know the saying, but it's something like that. I know I heard it when I was very young. But anyway, so back on topic. I'm just talking, but I'm just reminding you, just a quick reminder. The I in you is what the awareness is. It's what the presence is. It's what's having the experience. So when you see everything going on, tap into that. Be still. Put your ego, put everything, as I said before, outside, and sit with that presence and say, okay, and I'm along for the ride. I'm along for the ride. And I know, I have a sense that you can only work with what I've set up. What I have set up with my mind, if I've limited my mind, if my perception is screwed, if my thoughts, my psyche is just bringing all kinds of thoughts my way, then, and I'm not managing or those thoughts, then. Anyway, quick word choice here. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope I wasn't too far gone and all over the place. I hope it made sense. Hey, the I in you is having the experience, and it can only operate through you. And whatever limitations you give your vessel, then that's what it will be. Choice here. Thank you so very much for joining me again for another session of Choice Spirit. Namaste.